The Daytona 24-hour race is now in its 59th iteration and its 7th as an IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship event. The grid for this year is proving to be one of the biggest the Rolex 24 has ever had, and also proving to be one of the biggest in terms of driver level. It is at an enormously high standard this year, which is great. So to get people up to speed on a number of elements of this particular race and what you need to know, I'm going to go through a number of those details, and hopefully by the end of this, hopefully not too long a video, you'd have found it fairly informative. So let's jump straight into it. So to go for a lap around this circuit, we're using the Ligier LMP3 vehicle, which will be used in the Rolex 24 for the first time on Project Cars 2. Turn 1 is a very tricky corner, probably the most difficult on the track. It's a very deceptive corner. You think you can take a lot of speed through there, but actually, no you can't. You have to lift off and brake quite cautiously actually, because the car can easily rotate at the high speeds there. Going through the two kinks, which aren't really corners whatsoever, and then we go through a very difficult braking zone, very hard on the brakes. You have to sort of keep on your throttle somewhat through there. And also bear in mind that whilst it may look like track limits on any other circuit, especially under FIA homologation, you can do what I've just done there. Even so, the next corner, even in LMP3 vehicles, will be easily flat. Should be flat in basically everything, but still. Then we come up to another difficult braking zone. There's a slight bump which you don't realise, and you can use a lot of the road there. Then there's another type braking zone for a fairly sharp corner. Don't be fooled by the amount of room you leave on the right hand side. You don't really want to go out there because actually it's a slower way around. The shorter line you take, the faster it is. And then, well, I mean, there isn't really much to it. You go through turns 1 and 2 of the NASCAR oval layout, but I mean, I mean, what can I do here? How can you fill the time? Lovely weather, isn't it? But now you've got to stop asking yourself questions and brake, not too hard, but enough, for the bus stop chicane, which is very demanding for even the LMP3 vehicles. You can take a lot of speed through there, but during the race there's a lot of risk involved in that. And especially as the Project Cars 2 version hasn't got quite as violent to curbs, which were modified last year. And, well, that's basically all there is to this lap. As we go through turns 3 and 4. Actually, you know what? Let's just end it there. We've got that. This is going to be a long enough video as it is. So let's move on to the next feature. For the top category of IMSA, DPI will be a fierce contest between the three different constructors: Acura, Mazda, and Cadillac. Although Cadillac will still be the favourites for this race, having won the previous 4. Of those 4, Wayne Taylor Racing has won 3 of those. However, that will not be the case this year, as they have switched to the Acura DPI chassis, along with Meyer-Shank Racing with Gerber-Gajanian, who have gone from the GTD category to DPI. We also have a few familiar faces from NASCAR coming into the Rolex 24, with Jimmy Johnson driving a special one-off entry for Action Express Racing, with other big names such as Mike Rockenfeller, Simon Pagenaud, and Kamui Kobayashi. And the current NASCAR Cup champion, Chase Elliott, will join the full-season Action Express Racing entry in the number 31 for this race only. They are the ones on pole position for this race after Pipo Derani and Felipe Nasr won the new for this year 100-minute qualifying race. Oliver Jarvis and Harry Tinknell put the Mazda alongside them on the front row. Then comes the JDC Miller Mustang sampling Cadillac, and the first of the Acuras with the Meyer-Shank Gerber-Gajanian entry, which topped the times in the second practice session. They will start ahead of the Wayne Taylor Acura, followed by the Ally Cadillac entry, and then the Chip Ganassi Cadillac. They've led 2 of the 4 practice sessions, and 1 of them was at night. The Cadillacs look strong again for this year's race, however don't rule out the Acuras showing pace at points in this race, and the Mazda, over the years, has gotten better and better. The LMP2 category has 10 entries for the Rolex 24, as a number of teams from the World Endurance Championship have come to Daytona to try and claim victory. We also have different constructors in this race, including the first time that a Dallara will be used in the IMSA series, run by the Italian team Cetala Racing. A Ligier will also be run with a partnership of Rickware Racing and Eurasia Motorsport. However, that won't be the first time that a Ligier has been run in IMSA competition. The rest of the field are Orica chassis, and it will be an Orica on the LMP2 pole with PR1 Tyson Motorsports with Mikkel Jensen and Ben Keating, who will also be driving another car during the race in a different category. However, it wasn't an easy victory, after a great fight between them and the Dallara, which fell down to P6 in its category. The second place car in the category is High Class Racing with Robert Kubica and Ferdinand von Habsburg joining the Danish pair of Dennis Andersen and Anders Fjordbach. Town Motorsport with Starworks at P3 with an Orica, along with Racing Team Neyland and another Orica in P4, and then the first of the two Dragon Speed entries with Car 81 in P5. The Chetalar Dallara comes next, followed by the Era Motorsport Orica, and then the Rick Ware Eurasia Ligier, which has a very interesting driver lineup. Austin Dillon, the 2018 Daytona 500 winner, Sally Yolich, the 24 Hours of Le Mans winner last year in GTE AM, Cody Ware, a NASCAR driver, as well as being the 2019-20 Asian Le Mans Series champion in the LMP2 AM category, and Sven Muller, a factory Porsche driver, although it was a late placement for Mathieu Jaminet. The rest of the grid is completed by the second Dragon Speed entry of Car 82, and then the Win Autosport Orica. It'll be very hard to predict a winner in this with any certainty, but it'll be very exciting to say the least. IMSA has a new category for the series in the form of LMP3, and for its debut, 7 cars have entered the race, with the pole position going to Mueller Motorsport with Lawrence Herr, Kenton Coach, Stephen McAleer and Moritz Kranz at the wheel of one of the 2 Dakeen cars entered in the race. The other Dakeen will start from second, 47 Motorsports. All the other cars behind them are Ligiers, although that's not to say that one car is better than another. The first of those Ligiers is the Core Autosport Run entry driven by the returning John Bennett, along with George Kurtz, Colin Brown and Matt McMurray. In P4, we have Sean Creech Motorsport with Joao Barbosa headlining the team with 3 overall Rolex 24 victories to his name, most recently in 2018. However, while the other drivers, Wayne Boyd, was last year's European Le Mans Series champion in LMP3, so he'll know how to get speed from the car. Lance Wilsey and Jan Claret complete the lineup. In P5 is Performance Tech Motorsports with the number 38 Ligier, and then come the 2 cars from Riley Motorsports with Car 91 ahead of Car 74. There is a level of uncertainty as to what will occur in this category, as it's the first time that these cars will race in the Rolex 24. All the more reasons to keep an eye on this category. As for GTLM, it's always a favourite amongst fans for its manufacturer presence, and this year's Rolex 24 will be the same, with Corvette, BMW, Ferrari and Porsche being represented. The front row in the category will be made up with the pair of Corvettes with Car 4 ahead of Car 3. Nick Tandy joins from the factory Porsche team last year over to the number 4 Corvette team alongside Tommy Milner and former BMW Formula E racer Alexander Sims. Car 3 is made up of Antonio Garcia, Nicky Katzberg and Jordan Taylor. In P3 is the privateer effort from WeatherTech Racing in partnership with Proton Competition. Whilst on paper it seems like with Cooper McNeil being rated as a silver driver compared to everyone else in the category being gold/platinum, on the track he and his teammate for the qualifying race Kevin Estra showed good speed in the wet and dry conditions. In P4 is the Rizzi Competizione Ferrari with another factory Ferrari lineup of James Collado, Alessandro Pierguidi, Jules Gounon and Davide Rigon. Then we have the pair of BMWs in P5 and 6 with Car 25 out of Car 24. Despite being last in the category during the qualifying race, they are still strong contenders for the category after winning the GTLM division the previous 2 years. GTLM usually throws up some action, and this year looks no different. If you like variety in racing, then GTD has you covered, as 9 different manufacturers will be competing for the win out of 19 entries. The pole position in the class went to the 1 BMW in the category run by Turner Motorsport. Bill Oberlin will be competing in his 32nd Daytona 24 Hours, and in that time, he's won his category in the race twice, with the last time being back in 1998. He'll be partnered up with Robbie Foley, Aidan Reed and a winner of the Rolex 24 for BMW in the GTLM category, Colton Herter. In second is the FAF Motorsports Porsche, and then comes the first League Grasser Racing Lamborghinis with Car 111 starting third in the category. The first of the Lexus RCF GT3s with Car 14 will be P4 ahead of the HTP Winwood Mercedes AMG and the Heart of Racing Team Aston Martin. In P7 is the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari and then the Wright Motorsports Porsche, who have had to replace Ryan Hardwick with Trent Hinman, as Ryan was not cleared to race due to an accident he had in the Michelin Pilot Challenge first practice session. The second of the Vassar Sullivan Lexus cars is next with Car 12, followed by Sun Energy One Racing with its Mercedes AMG. P11 is the 1 Acura NSX in the field, with Magnus Racing with Archangel Motorsports running that car ahead of the TF Sport Aston Martin, which will run Ben Keating, who as mentioned earlier will be racing in the LMP2 class as well. The Hardpoint El Bamba Motorsport Porsche is next, with Catherine Legg racing in her first race in sustaining fractures to her legs in an LMP2 testing crash at Paul Ricard last year. Allegra Motorsports Mercedes AMG is next in P14, followed by the AF Corsa Ferrari, who were the Pro-Am champions in the Italian GT Sprint Cup. In P16 is the only Audi R8 being run by NT Esport ahead of a pair of Lamborghinis, with the Paul Miller Racing entry ahead of the second entry from Presser Racing with car 19. The entire field is completed with the Team TGM Porsche. Whilst the Lamborghinis have won the 3 previous Rolex 24s in the category, it's such an open field that it is impossible to anticipate who will come out on top. So, where can you watch the race? If you're in the US, then it will be on NBC affiliated TV channels, which includes the main NBC for portions of the race and NBCSN. Outside of the US, it will probably be on IMSA.tv, except for a few regions where TV contracts will be in place. And there you'll have to go potentially on the IMSA website to have a look at your region and see which TV channel does broadcast a race, or your local TV listings, and just search through until you find it, really. If you do miss any of the race though, then the race will be uploaded in its entirety on the IMSA YouTube channel a few days after the race has completed, most likely. It may be a bit longer, but it's around that time. The race will start at 3:30 PM on the eastern side of America, so obviously you'll have to convert that time into your own time zone so you know when the race starts. And that is all you really need to know about the 2021 Daytona 24 Hours. Hopefully you enjoyed this and that you got some good information as to what to look forward to for this race, as there is quite a lot. Either way, thank you for watching and I hope you did enjoy this, and until the next video, stay safe and enjoy the race.